For the following series, what, if anything, does the ratio test tell us? Alright, so we see the series we're working with has n factorial squared, so n factorial times n factorial, over 2n factorial. That's the sequence that we're adding up. And we're specifically asked, does the ratio test shed any light on this particular situation? Okay. So for the ratio test, we need to compute rho. Limit of an plus 1 over an. But we know what an and therefore an plus 1 look like. Okay, so an is going to be n plus 1 factorial squared over 2 times n plus 1 factorial. And then all of that is over our n factorial squared, 2n factorial. So let's get to simplifying. Okay. I'm going to write the n plus 1 factorial squared as n plus 1 factorial times n plus 1 factorial. And 2 times n plus 1, that's just 2n plus 2. Okay. To divide by a fraction, you flip it and then multiply. And I'm going to write my n factorial squared as n factorial times n factorial. Alright, so what should we do next? Well, these n plus 1 factorials can be rewritten as n plus 1 times n factorial. And thinking ahead, that's going to cancel out at least a little bit with the n factorials on the bottom that we had. Now, is there something similar we can do for 2n factorial and 2n plus 2 factorial? Well, I can write 2n plus 2 factorial as 2n plus 2 times, you're just going to subtract 1 here, so 2n plus 1 factorial. But that 2n plus 1 factorial can itself be rewritten as 2n plus 1 times 2n factorial. So there we get some more things canceling out. So we get n plus 1. I'm going to leave it as n plus 1 times n plus 1. This 2n plus 2, I'm going to write it as 2 times n plus 1. So 2 of those can cancel out. So our rho value is 1/2 the limit as n tends to infinity of n plus 1 over 2n plus 1. Now if you want to, you can do something like L'Hopital's rule, but I'd say it's pretty clear that n is what's going to dominate here. So essentially, in the long run, we're doing n over 2n. So we've got 1/2 times a limit of 1/2. So 1/4. So our rho value is 1/4. This is less than 1. So the ratio test does have something to say here. Tells us our series converges.